The chandeliers over Titan Station's grand banquet hall refracted Saturn's pale rings into shards of color that danced across polished steel and crystalline walls. The place had been designed to impress aliens, its architecture more Calorian than human, its opulence borrowed rather than earned. To Commander Elias Grant, the sight always tasted bitter. Humanity built the station, but every brick seemed laid to remind them of their inferiority. Hundreds of delegates filled the chamber. Long tables bent in a crescent so that the Calorian delegation dominated the center, their armor gleaming like living stone. Other species clustered nearby, glittering with jewels or strange bioluminescent displays, all of them casting sidelong glances at the humans. The human delegation, diplomats in stiff suits, military officers in understated uniforms, sat on the outer rim, politely smiling, silently enduring. Elias remained standing at the edge of the room, his hands clasped behind his back, eyes scanning the scene with soldier's detachment. His role was security liaison, which meant standing guard while his people were paraded like second-class performers. He caught fragments of laughter, saw how often it followed whenever a human spoke. It was the laughter that burned. A Calorian bark rang out. Overseer Vorik had entered. The chamber seemed to tilt around his presence. Tall and broad, clad in ceremonial armor that shimmered with translucent ridges, Vorik moved with deliberate disdain. His jaw was sharp, his eyes like molten iron. 2 attendants carried his train, as though the floor itself were unworthy of touching his garment. "Humans," he declared in accented Terran, his voice booming. "Our hosts. How gracious of you to invite the galaxy into your humble dwelling." His smile cut like a blade. Laughter rippled across the alien tables. The human diplomats forced polite smiles. Elias clenched his jaw. Humble? Titan Station was humanity's greatest achievement beyond Earth, but to the Calorians it was a toy, shiny, but fragile. The toasts began. Aliens spoke of trade routes, military dominance, centuries of conquest. When the human ambassador stood, raising his glass with trembling hand, the Calorian beside him, accidentally, bumped his arm. Red wine splashed down the ambassador's chest. The alien sneered and muttered something in his own tongue. The room erupted in laughter. Elias shifted forward. His instincts screamed to act, but he stopped himself. His duty was restraint. Still, he memorized the soldier's face, the ridged brow, the jagged scar, the smirk. Lieutenant Marin, his second-in-command, sidled up to him. Her voice was low, sharp. "They won't stop, sir. Not until someone bleeds." Elias didn't look at her. His eyes stayed locked on the ambassador's stained jacket. "Discipline, Marin. Our time isn't now. Maybe it should be." Her words lingered like smoke. Elias knew she spoke the truth, but a premature outburst would doom them all. Humanity had no fleet worth the name, no allies, nothing but stubborn pride. Vorik rose from his seat. He loomed over the hall, arms spread, commanding silence. "This station is admirable," he said. "Truly, humanity has learned to imitate civilization. Your toys even spin through space without falling apart." He chuckled. "Remarkable." The room laughed again. Every alien face turned toward the humans, grins widening. Elias's fists tightened behind his back until his knuckles ached. His thoughts burned with images of Earth, of colonists struggling to survive on Mars, of ships built with sweat and sacrifice. All reduced to a joke. The ambassador attempted diplomacy, voice quivering. "Humanity has worked tirelessly to..." He never finished. A Calorian soldier stepped forward and slapped the glass from his hand. Crystal shattered on the floor. The soldier leaned close, speaking slowly so every human heard. "You are not equal. You are tolerated." A hush fell. Elias stepped forward before he realized it. His boots echoed on the polished floor. Every eye in the chamber turned toward him. The soldier sneered, baring sharp teeth. "And who is this? Another pet soldier?" Elias stood tall, voice steady. "Commander Elias Grant. Security liaison of Titan Station." The soldier laughed. "Security? Against what?" Cockroaches? His hand hovered over the ambassador's shoulder, daring Elias to react. Marin's voice whispered like a ghost at his back. Say the word. Elias's mind raced. He felt the weight of his sidearm holstered at his hip, the gaze of his people, the suffocating expectation pressing down on him. He measured the silence, the poised hostility, the humiliation dripping from every alien smirk. He spoke, calm but cold. Step back. The soldier tilted his head, amused. Or what? The air grew heavy. The chandeliers seemed to dim. Every alien waited for the punchline, for the human to fold. Elias's hand flexed near his weapon. Not yet, he told himself. But his voice cut through the chamber like a blade. Enough. The word rang out hard, final. For the first time that evening, the laughter stopped. The banquet hall was no longer filled with laughter. Silence pressed down like a weight after Elias Grant's single word, *enough star. Every gaze turned toward him, every sneer frozen in place. For the first time that night, the mockery had stalled. The Calorian soldier who had struck the glass from the ambassador's hand leaned forward. His teeth glistened under the chandelier's fractured light. A soldier dares to speak, he said, voice oily with contempt. Shall we clap for his courage? A ripple of chuckles stirred among the aliens, but it faltered. Elias's stance, rigid and unyielding, drew their focus. He looked at the soldier, as though the laughter had no power left. Step away from him, Elias ordered. His voice was calm, stripped of hesitation. The soldier's brow ridges shifted in amusement. He turned deliberately, brushing his gauntlet hand across the ambassador's shoulder in mock intimacy. And if I do not? Will you bark again? Will you bare your teeth? Elias's hand brushed the leather grip of his sidearm. He felt Marin's presence just behind him, her breath sharp with tension. Overseer Vorik rose slowly, his crystalline armor chiming against itself. His deep voice rolled across the hall. This is beneath us. Let the human puff his chest. It entertains. The soldier grinned wider. Then watch closely. His palm struck the ambassador across the face, sending him stumbling into the table. Gasps rose from the human side, stifled quickly under alien glares. That was the moment Elias moved. His weapon cleared its holster with fluid precision. The metallic snaps seemed to slice the chamber in half. A dozen alien eyes widened, others smirked, certain this was another human bluff. The soldier laughed outright. A toy gun, he said. Will you scare me with sound? Elias leveled the barrel at the center of the soldier's chest. This is your last chance. Vorik's laughter thundered. Do you not see? They cling to weapons as infants cling to rattles. His arms swept outward, mocking the scene. They dare not. The report of the pistol cut him short. The shot echoed like a storm against the vaulted ceiling. A flare of light, the crack of impact, and the Calorian soldier staggered back. His smirk collapsed into shock. A blackened hole spread across his armor, smoke curling upward. Then he fell, heavy and final, into silence. The chamber froze. For the first time in living memory, a human weapon had felled a Calorian in public. No one laughed. Elias lowered the gun slightly but kept it ready. His voice, quiet but steady, carried across the stunned assembly. We are not your pets. A hiss of fury escaped Vorik. His gauntlets clenched, his voice rising to a roar. You dare spill Calorian blood? Elias didn't blink. He spilled his own when he struck one of mine. The other alien delegates shifted uneasily. Their earlier amusement was gone, replaced by murmurs of alarm and suspicion. Some looked at Elias with new weight in their eyes. Marin stepped to his side, weapon drawn. Her words were sharp, low. Sir, you just signed our death warrant. Elias kept his eyes on Vorik. No, he replied. I signed our declaration. Chaos erupted. Calorian guards surged forward, weapons raised, but human marines stationed at the edges moved in, rifles lifted, lines forming with drilled precision. The hall crackled with the threat of bloodshed. Stand down! Vorik bellowed at the humans. You cannot hope to fight us. Lay down your arms, and perhaps we allow you to live as servants. Elias raised his voice so every corner of the hall heard. Servants? No. Not anymore. You wanted us on our knees. Instead, you will see us standing. The guards halted, uncertain. No one had expected a single shot to change the air this completely. The weight of centuries of ridicule hung trembling, as though one more spark could ignite the entire room. The ambassador, face still flushed from the blow, straightened slowly. His voice quavered but gained strength. We are not here to beg. We are here to be heard. A murmur spread. The human delegates, shamed minutes before, now stood taller, emboldened by the body cooling at their feet. Vorik's expression twisted. Rage burned in his eyes, but beneath it flickered calculation. To crush the humans now would be simple, but the act would play out before half the galaxy's eyes. The Calorians could slaughter, but they could not erase what had been seen, a human's defiance, a Calorian corpse. He hissed, voice low and venomous. You will regret this, Commander. Your kind will regret this. Elias holstered his pistol with deliberate calm. Then come and make us. Marin leaned close, her whisper taut. The fleet outside will rain fire the second we step out. I know, Elias said. His gaze swept the hall. But we won't crawl back. Not after this. The aliens began to retreat, some muttering threats, others whispering disbelief. Delegates who had joined in mockery minutes earlier now avoided human eyes. The laughter was gone, replaced by something far sharper, wariness. As the hall emptied, Vorik lingered, his glare fixed on Elias like a blade point. He raised a single finger. This is not over. Elias met his gaze without flinching. It's only begun. The doors sealed behind the departing Calorians, leaving the humans in the sudden hush of the hall. The body remained, sprawled in dark armor, smoke still curling upward. The ambassador sank into a chair, trembling. Commander, do you realize what you've done? Elias turned toward his people, his voice firm. Yes. I've reminded them we're not furniture in their empire. We've shown them a line they cannot cross without consequence. Marin's jaw tightened, but there was no accusation in her eyes now. Only resolve. Then we prepare for what comes next. The Marines reformed into disciplined ranks, awaiting orders. Delegates whispered among themselves, shaken but strangely resolute. For the first time, Titan Station's humans felt a spark of dignity burn through their fear. Elias looked once more at the lifeless soldier. He whispered so only Marin heard. Let them laugh now. And for the first time all evening, not a single alien voice dared. Alarms screamed through Titan Station. Red light pulsed along the steel corridors, washing the banquet hall in a glow that made every human face look bloodied. Outside, through the great window, Calorian warships shifted into attack posture, sleek daggers of obsidian metal sliding into formation. The shot had broken the silence, but now the storm was coming. Commander Elias Grant stood at the center of the hall, shoulders squared, as the last of the alien delegates filed out under heavy guard. The Calorians had departed first, seething, their threats trailing like smoke. Other species lingered, whispering in uncertain tones, their eyes drawn again and again to the corpse on the floor. Marin approached, helmet tucked beneath her arm, her voice low but urgent. They'll open fire within minutes. The fleet outside dwarfs anything we can field. Elias's gaze held steady on the black void beyond the glass. Yes. But they'll do it knowing we drew first blood. The ambassador staggered forward, his face pale, still stained with wine. Commander, you've doomed us. We must send an apology, a surrender, something, anything, to stop them. Elias turned, his expression cutting the plea short. You want to crawl back to their boots? That's what got us here in the first place. The ambassador's hands shook. If Titan falls, thousands die. Marin stepped between them. If we bow now, humanity dies for good. He's right, sir. This is the line. Elias nodded once. Then we hold it. The command deck of Titan Station thrummed with controlled panic. Screens bloomed with tactical readouts, alien ships blinking like knives in orbit. Human officers shouted reports, voices taut but disciplined. Elias strode in, Marin at his side, Marines trailing behind. The crew fell silent as he took the central console. "Status," he barked. "Enemy fleet forming attack wedge," an ensign replied. 30 heavy cruisers, 2 carriers, dozens of escorts. They'll be in firing range in 6 minutes. And our assets? 1 destroyer in dock, the Resolute, still running on outdated coils. Our point defense batteries are active, but they won't stop a barrage that size. The reality was brutal. Titan Station was no fortress. It was a trade hub with token defenses. Against a Calorian fleet, it was a candle before a hurricane. Yet every eye in the room locked on Elias. Fear wavered, but expectation stood firmer. Elias pressed a hand to the console. "Patch me through to Vorik." A moment later, the Overseer's image filled the main screen, his crystalline armor gleaming with reflected starlight. His face was a mask of fury restrained only by calculation. "Human," Vorik spat. "Your insolence has bought you extinction. Hand over your commander, lay down arms, and we will be merciful. Resist, and Titan Station will be ash." Elias stood tall, voice even. "You called us pets. Pets don't pull triggers. You've underestimated us for the last time." Laughter hissed through Vorik's teeth. "1 dead soldier is not strength. It is suicide." "Maybe," Elias said, eyes locked on the screen. "But it's proof we won't kneel. And every race watching knows it." Vorik's expression shifted, the faintest crack of unease slipping through. Other species ships floated in orbit, watching, weighing. If the Calorians slaughtered humans tonight, they'd expose just how fragile their grip truly was. "You gamble with your people's lives," Vorik growled. Elias leaned forward. "I gamble with their dignity. There's a difference." The channel cut, leaving the deck in tense silence. "Commander," Marin murmured, "the fleet is arming weapons." "Good. Let them." The minutes crawled. Outside the viewport, the black wedge of Calorian warships loomed larger, lights flaring as they charged their cannons. Titan Station's crew braced, hands poised over systems that would barely scratch the enemy. Then, unexpectedly, a murmur spread across the deck. A signal flashed from one of the non-Calorian vessels in orbit, a long-range freighter belonging to the Dyrant Collective. Its engines flared, drifting closer to Titan instead of retreating. A second light followed from a smaller ship, then another. They did not aim weapons, but they did not move aside either. A subtle message, but clear: someone was watching, unwilling to give the Calorians free rein. Marin's lips curved into the ghost of a smile. "They're hesitating." Elias exhaled slowly. "Good. Doubt is more dangerous to them than any weapon we own." The Calorian fleet halted just short of firing range. Minutes stretched, tension wound tighter, but no shots came. Vorik would not risk an open massacre with half the galaxy's eyes fixed on him. "Not yet." Elias turned to his officers. "This doesn't mean we're safe. It means we bought time. Make use of it." Orders flew. The destroyer Resolute began final checks. Defense crews armed every turret Titan could muster. Marines fortified choke points across the station. Civilian corridors filled with evacuees guided toward bunkers. The air was heavy with fear, but beneath it pulsed something harder, sharper: resolve. In the quiet moments, Elias stood by the viewport, Saturn's pale rings arching behind the Calorian fleet. Marin joined him. "They'll come back," she said. "Yes," Elias answered. "But next time, the galaxy won't laugh when they see us stand." Marin studied him, voice low. "You knew what that shot meant, didn't you? That it wasn't just about 1 soldier or 1 insult." Elias's eyes never left the black wedge of ships. "I knew the moment he laid his hand on one of ours. We've endured enough. Sometimes 1 trigger pull is the only language tyrants understand." Marin gave a slow nod. "Then we speak it fluently now." Hours later, the station quieted. The Calorian fleet remained, looming, but no strike came. Rumors spread among the humans. Some spoke of impending annihilation, others whispered of the beginning of respect. For the first time, hope and fear walked side by side. On the command deck, Elias addressed his gathered officers. His voice carried not only across the room but through the comms to every human ear on Titan. "We are not the strongest. We are not the oldest. But tonight we proved we will not be broken. They thought us comic relief. They thought us furniture. They thought us safe to mock. But when the line was crossed, we answered. And we will answer again, if we must." A murmur of approval swept the crew. Shoulders straightened, spines stiffened. The spark of pride was undeniable. Elias finished simply. "The laughter is gone. And in its place, they've seen what makes us human." In the dark beyond the station, Vorik watched from his flagship, fists tight at his sides. His rage was real, but beneath it a colder thought gnawed at him. The humans had shifted something intangible tonight. Not through technology, not through fleets, but through defiance. And defiance, he knew, was far harder to crush.